Hey there, everyone. Welcome to day 23 and the very beginning still of week 4, in which we're reading about the Eucharist and history. Yesterday we talked about the very first time that Jesus reveals the Eucharist to the people, that he's going to make the Eucharist, and then we must eat his flesh and drink his blood. And today we talk about the Last Supper, which is the first time that Jesus made ordinary bread into his flesh and blood. He made ordinary bread and wine into his flesh and blood. Right? He took something ordinary and made it extraordinary. Notice that as Jesus is beginning salvation history, or really he's heightening it, right? He's been doing salvation history, but he's beginning his saving act of redeeming all of humanity with the Last Supper. This should kind of stand out to us, right? That the thing that he does before it all happens, or starting it off, is he takes ordinary bread and wine and makes it into his flesh and blood, right? Something he does in time, in history. And it's at the Last Supper that he ultimately tells Judas to go do his thing. Right? Yesterday we heard in the reading that most of the disciples left Jesus because the teaching was too difficult. I think it's fair to say Judas stayed even though he didn't believe, and so today he leaves early. Right? He still leaves before it's completed. And he begins also he finishes really the hardness of his heart and turns Jesus over. Something very sad. So while one of his beloved disciples, one of his close friends, is betraying him, he's also still giving of himself. Right? We can have people critique the Catholic Church for its belief in this. John Vianney has a good quote here. "There is nothing so great as the Eucharist." This is coming out of the book. "If God had something more precious, he would have given it to us." God didn't give us the Bible. There is no time in human history that the Bible just descended to us and gave it to us. We collected those books and, inspired by the Holy Spirit, put them together and, see it as sacred. God himself didn't give it to us in the same way that he gives us the Eucharist. But if there was something more precious than the Eucharist, then God would have given it to us. But it really is just the most amazing and precious thing that we have. And then God is very direct. Jesus is very direct, very clear. You must eat my flesh and you must drink my blood if you wish to have any life within you. Right? We take up the commandments and hopefully we follow as well. We take up some of the dietary law things, not eating meat on Friday during Lent. Sometimes we forget just how clear Jesus really is with the Eucharist. You must eat my flesh, you must drink my blood to have any life within you. Continue to receive the Holy Communion well. Am I receiving communion as reverently as I possibly can? Sometimes, people will come up, I don't see it a lot at this parish, but with like books in their hand, or whatnot. Right, am I ready just to receive God? Obviously, sometimes someone's holding a child and whatnot, and I think it's a little bit different than just holding a book. The child has to be held, but the book doesn't. Am I receiving communion as reverently as I possibly can? Right, Jesus is very clearly giving his entire self. How am I receiving his entire self? God bless you.